current reliance on rubber tree plantations as a natural source of rubber and why it's a problem, by David Beach. Mann explained in his research book on globalization that rubber is one of the 3 pillars of industrialization along with steel and fossil fuel. The rubber industry started in South America where the trees are native. The rubber tree was exported to British colonists in Sri Lanka around 1872 and soon made it to Malaysia and Indonesia thanks to Henry Wickham. Henry Wickham is regarded in Brazil historically as the Prince of Thieves because he gathered 3/4 tons of rubber seeds from the Amazon, which was illegally obtained. At the time, to protect South America's economy from competition in the rubber markets, no exports of any seeds were allowed. This transaction led Asia to become the world's largest rubber producer by 1910, after receiving Wickham's rubber seeds. Soon China got their hands in the rubber industry and pushed neighboring Laos and Myanmar to grow large quantities as well because their land was better suited for the rubber plantations, now legally called forests due to their large size. The remaining trees in the area are currently being overtaken by the aggressive rubber trees. Why is this so bad? Rubber trees are extremely susceptible to a fungus that can wipe them all out extremely fast. A great example historically is the famous rubber plantation formed in Brazil back in 1927 by Henry Ford called Fordlandia, a 4,000 square mile rubber plantation which resembled an average Michigan town. The town was soon decimated by leaf blight, a fungus killing all of the trees. After the town was abandoned, Brazil conceded that the leaf blight made rubber tree production impossible in the Amazon. Microclius uli, or commonly referred to as leaf blight, is a fungus many trees are vulnerable to, but rubber trees in particular are extremely vulnerable to it. The fungus that originated in Brazil has not yet made it to Asia, where the new rubber plantations supplying global industrialization with raw rubber are located. The threat of this fungus getting to Asia has led the United Nations to classify leaf blight as a possible biological weapon. If the large-scale rubber plantations are exposed to leaf blight, the black fungal outbreak will be visible from space as it overtakes a large portion of Asia. The ramifications of this would leave the world in dire need of rubber. Synthetic rubber is not reliable for all applications, such as hospital equipment and many factory applications, even airplane tires to list just a few, which is why natural rubber is still needed. Not until industrialization, natural rubber became a basic material. Nowadays, it provides the basis for many high-performance products which we come across in cars, trains, airplanes, and ships, in engines and industrial plants. Wherever elastic motion is required, and where it is essential to seal, convey, mount, insulate, transmit power, or to damp vibration, rubber is of importance. Today, natural rubber provides about 40% of the world's rubber demand and is used in the manufacture of over 40,000 products. Synthetic rubber, invented at the beginning of the 20th century, covers about 60% of the current consumption. The world production of natural rubber is constantly growing from about 2 million tons in 1960s to more than 10 million tons in 2007. In its center of origin, the Amazon basin, H. brasilianus is consistently endangered by the fungus Microclius uli, South American leaf blight of rubber. The pathogen so far inhibits plantation growth of rubber trees in South America. Beneficiaries of this situation are located in Southeast Asia, where the fungus has not spread to date. Thailand, Indonesia, and Malaysia are the main rubber producers, followed by Vietnam and China. South American leaf blight is a fungal disease of rubber trees and poses a major threat to the region. Up till now, the disease has been restricted to South and Central America, where it has inhibited natural rubber production on a commercial scale. So far, use of modern systemic fungicides and improved application techniques have failed to prevent large losses and dieback of trees. Its potential to affect other regions rises with every transcontinental airline connection that directly links tropical regions. The need to develop quarantine measures against the disease is urgent. The United Nations has made a 112-page overview of the extreme threat leaf blight poses to Asia as well as all of the industrialized world, and has released the study as a handout to educate Asia of the impending threat. The handout is free and similar to the many pamphlets George Washington Carver produced in his time to educate society with various agricultural information. One example of Carver's educational handouts produced similar to the United Nations report on leaf blight is titled Some Peanut Disease, which includes both a brief description of the major diseases and prevention measures. 5,000 copies were printed and sent to peanut growers, shelling plants, county agents, newspapers, banks, and the USDA. The biological center of origin of the rubber tree is the Amazon basin in South America. The annual production of natural rubber in this vast area of Brazil is only 97,000 tons, which is about 1% of the world's production and far below the national needs of Brazil for rubber. The reason for this discrepancy is the fact that natural rubber in Asia, India, and Africa can be grown on the plantation scale, while in Brazil, natural rubber is almost completely produced in extractive production systems in the Amazon basin, i.e., in cooperatives that collect latex from wild-growing rubber trees. Plantations in Central and South America so far have never reached full production because they are destroyed before the trees reach psychological maturity. The serious nature of this threat to the world economy has recently led to the decision to include South American leaf blight in a list of biological weapons, the United Nations Office of Drug and Crime. George Washington Carver would not agree with the heavy loss of natural habitat and animal populations due directly to the plantation farming of rubber trees in Asia. He always stressed crop variation and how to live with the land. An article Carver titled Being Kind to the Soil describes his interest in proper land management by turning a soil robber into a progressive farmer. Carver believed nature produced no waste, and even the poorest man could improve his living conditions through proper use of natural resources. George Washington Carver would not promote an extremely susceptible to death plant like rubber trees to be mass-produced with a very good chance that they will be infected and die off. Carver was an expert when it came to fungus, having discovered multiple types, and he clearly understood its importance and place in nature. With this in mind, Carver would not take an impending fungus epidemic lightly. Leaf blight is a serious matter that we have set ourselves up for with plantation rubber in Asia. George Washington Carver would seek other methods to produce natural rubber and try his best to educate Asia about the importance of crop variety and proper land management as he did in America during his lifetime. Coxyges, the form of dandelion, is a rubber-producing plant that once was a strategic source of natural rubber in the Soviet Union, but with no current usage as a crop species. Coxyges root latex content is reported in the literature to vary from 0 to 47.9 may imply that T. cauxagus species represents not a species but a latex-producing form of the common dandelion T. officinale that has a minor morphological difference in bracket shape. Cauxagus always occurs together with T. officinale and is very similar to it. Loss of natural ecosystems and animal populations are too great to continue the current reliance on rubber tree plantations throughout Asia, especially the immediate threat of leaf blight destroying rubber trees once introduced in Asia, as it did into South American rubber tree plantations, such as Carver's dear friend Henry Ford's decimated rubber plantation once located in the Amazon. Operatives collecting rubber in wild settings appear to be safe from large-scale die-off of rubber trees because it prevents the easy transmission of leaf blight that a rubber tree plantation risks. Carver quoted, "So-called waste products, failed production measures, resulted from man's failure to apply his intelligence to the use of natural resources." Carver's idea in this quote explains how continuing a rubber tree plantation setting is an obvious misuse of our resources, therefore other means of natural rubber production must be explored. A GMO dandelion could be used as a fast producer of natural rubber. This would be much safer than the rubber tree humanity currently relies on for natural rubber. An idea like this is what Carver would entertain as a possible solution to the problems we face relying on rubber trees. Carver wanted students to look beyond the known and seek new answers to old problems. This old notion, Carver wrote, of swallowing down other people's ideas and problems just as they have worked them out without putting our brains and originality into it and making them applicable to our specific needs must go. We need to proactively abandon this flawed rubber tree system and seek new means of natural rubber production. The benefits of a stable GMO dandelion natural rubber producer potentially could keep the doors open for industrialization in the 21st century, and perhaps open even more doors given the opportunity.